Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first of our seminars for the Fall 2024 seminar series put together by the graduate student community at the Gallagly College of Engineering. This one's going to be done by Avinash Nair and Swapnil Danayat. First thing, this is this semester's GSC leadership team. Roshan and I are co-chairing this semester, although Roshan is kind of starting to step back a little bit. Publicity is being done by Andrew and Avinash. We have a very supportive team as well that covers everything else, namely Falani, Swapnil, Mayank, Siavash, Lewis, Nurian, and Suraj, and our wonderful faculty mentor, Farouk Mistry. If you would like to join the leadership team, right now we're setting our leadership meetings to Thursdays at 2 p.m. We're going to try this semester to meet in person again. That first meeting will be on September 12th in the Dave and Susan Burt team room. If you'd like information on where that is or how to get access to it, please email either me or Roshan. And we are flexible on the time. We try to get it to as many people as possible that they can actually make it in. We're trying out the Thursdays at 2 this semester to see how that works. If you'd like to join the GSC, we do have an engage page. Whenever we have bigger events, we post them on there. And it's also a good way for us to know how many members we have. So you can either click on the link or just scan the QR code and log in with your OU ID. We do also have a LinkedIn page that you can become a member of. And a Facebook page where we post all of our past and upcoming events. Which, speaking of, if you are unable to make it to a seminar that you'd like to attend, or if you have to duck out early, we do post these on YouTube. And all of our previous events are up there. So feel free to join us on that. And then also, if you are a graduate student in the College of Engineering, we do have a team room available for you to use. Just for hanging out, please email us if you would like access. As a reminder, once we get going, I'll be posting an attendance sheet into the chat. Please fill that out so that we know kind of what seminars people are most interested in doing in the future and which ones people are enjoying now. Now, without further ado, I will present our speakers today, Avinash and Swapnil, who will be talking about Cricket 101 for those of us who have absolutely no idea how it's played, which would include me. All
right. Thank you, Rachel, for the introduction. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Is the presentation visible, Rachel?
It should be showing, yeah, it's good.
Okay, great. So, hello and welcome everyone to the first webinar of the fall 2024 semester. And so today we'll be giving you information on cricket and how to play it. It's one of the biggest sport in the world where billions follow the sport around the world. And so, Roshan, can you mute yourself, please? Okay, so the presentation will be given by myself. I'm Swapnil and Avinash, who will be doing this later half of the presentation. So in this presentation, we'll be going over a brief introduction of the sport, the history of the sport, how it began, and what are some of the governing bodies which are in general responsible for how the sport is played and the rules around it and all. And then we'll be talking about some particular things to know, like how are the cricket grounds, what is a pitch. We'll show you some photos and try to walk you through it. And then we'll be speaking about the equipment that are being used in the sport, how the team structures are made, what are the different formats that are usually how the games are played around the world. Uh, then we'll be discussing about the team jerseys. And as you can see, myself and Avinash, like we are currently wearing the Indian cricket team jerseys. We'll explain the differences on how they are different. Then we'll be discussing about how the game is won, and then we'll go through a brief gameplay rules like what is batting, bowling, fielding, and then we'll be discussing about some international teams that are playing around the world right now. And then we'll also move into cricket in USA. And one point I forgot to mention in the outline here is the women's cricket, which has become really popular in the last decade or so. So let's start with a brief introduction. So cricket is a game which is played between two teams at a time, and they take turn to bat and bowl. So these are the two main aspects of the game. One is batting, and the other one is bowling. So similar to baseball, which some of you might be familiar with. So they have a pitching and a batting. So pitching would be similar to bowling, and batting is well batting. And so in baseball, you have 9 innings of alternate pitching and batting, whereas in general in cricket you would have 1 inning of batting and then bowling, or you will sorry 2 innings of batting and a bowling, and then uh, in certain format you will have 4 innings of alternate batting and bowling. So, like I said, so there are a lot of similarities between baseball and cricket, but they are by rules completely different from each other. And so the game was invented by the British, but it was perfected by the colonies, is what we like to say. So moving to the history of sport, so cricket, uh, like unofficially, it began in the late 16th century, somewhere in the south of England. Uh, They used to refer it as a gentleman's game as it was played by the elites, usually by high-ranking army officials or high-ranking elites of the society, and that's why they used to refer to it as a gentleman's game. It is called that today as well, but not as much as they used to call it before. So, so as the game originated in Britain and then it traveled to their colonies like India, South Africa, Australia, all these other countries which were colonies of British, they adapted the game, and we like to say that the colonies have some perfected the game and has made it what you see it today on the television. The game formally developed around the 19th and 20th century, and interestingly, the first ever recorded game of cricket was played between USA and Canada. And after so many years now, USA and Canada have got back their teams in the international tournaments. We'll see later on, like we just had a World Cup a few months ago, and both USA and Canada were part of that tournament as international teams. Uh, so America, after the initial games, the US has modified cricket into what we say is the modern day baseball. And so Roshan, who helped us made this presentation, has put this in that America defines cricket as it's defining the metric system of the English. Okay, so let's go on to some governing bodies which are responsible for shaping the sport as you see it today. The first and the most important one would be ICC, which is the International Cricket Council. So this is the main council that overlooks all the cricket tournaments, mainly the international cricket tournaments all around the world. Then each country has its own cricket board. For example, you have the BCCI, which is the Board of Control for Cricket in India. Then you have ECB, which is England and Wales Cricket Board. Similarly, you have Cricket Australia and you have USA Cricket. So all these uh, for country-specific cricket boards are responsible for carrying out the sport in their own countries. Okay, so let's come to cricket ground. So comparing to baseball, you right away see the first difference is that a cricket ground is mostly a circular ground. Uh, these the distances that you see from a center of the ground is, let's assume it's the center of the ground. So it's usually 60, 70 meters, and it can go up to 80 meters as well, some of the boundary. So you see here, this yellow line, which you see is called a boundary, uh, which is uh, like outer limit of the ground, and it is this boundary defines some of the scoring criterias, which we'll discuss later on. Okay, so we also have some uniquely shaped grounds. So like I said, usually cricket grounds are meant to be circular, but there are some oddly shaped grounds as well. So let's take a look at some of these. So if you see this GIF that is going around. So you see that there are some really weird shaped grounds as well. So this happens when in some countries they have the ground being used for multiple sports simultaneously. So you can have at the same ground, you can have a football game which is happening. So in that cases, the grounds would sometimes be a rectangular shape rather than a circular shape. And if you see down here, we have some of the different shapes that you can see of the cricket grounds. So each ground has its own specific dimensions, and which is why it's particularly fun in like that's why each game is different on its own depending on the size and shape of the cricket ground, because it defines your gameplay parameters and all. Okay, so let's move on to cricket pitch. So if you see here in the previous video, there is this central patch, which is of a different color at times. So that's where you have the pitch. So this is where all the game is happening. So on this pitch, you have, so this pitch is usually around 24 yards in total length, and the batting crease that you see here is close to 19 yards, which is around 17 and a half meters. Uh, the length of the pitch is always constant. Even though the grounds can vary, the pitch has to be of this exact size. Uh, like that's a constant thing that is there with respect to the grounds. And there are some markings on these pitches. You have the wide lines, which we'll tell you about in the further slides. And one important thing is, unlike baseball, where you have the pitching happening from the same direction, in cricket, you have the bowling, which is similar to the pitching, happening from both the sides of the pitch. So you use both the directions of the ground so that you don't wear out the playing area too much on one side of the ground. And also, one thing different than baseball is in pitching, uh, the pitcher throws the ball directly to the batsman or the batter, whereas in cricket you are allowed to bounce the ball, and not just allowed. So that is one of the uh, what do you say? Like it is good to have a bounce on the ball before it reaches to the batter. That's one main difference. And because of this bouncing of the ball, it is important to have the pitch in the right condition. If the pitch wears out, you'll have invariable bounce, or even sometimes it bounces off in a risky way that can uh, be dangerous to the batter, and in that case we have to call off the game. But to keep avoid these things from happening, we play from both the sides of the pitch. Okay, let's come to the equipment. So the first on the left hand side that you see are called batting pads. So these pads are what the batter wears on their legs. So this is to protect their legs from the ball. So let's see first what the ball is. If you see here 14 on the bottom here, it's a hard leather ball. Uh, so it is a pretty hard ball. So you need some protection. So that's why we have the batter wear these pads. Then you have the chest guard to protect the chest region. There you have the hand gloves. So these in particular are worn by the batsman. And then number 7, if you see, so these are called a wicket keeping glove. So wicket keeper is someone who stands behind the batter and is from the opponent team. And if you see, it has attachment from the thumb to the index finger, and that is basically so that you can catch the ball easily. Then you have let's see. So this number 10, what you see is called what it's called wickets or stumps. And then we have these two small things on that, which are these number 4, which are called the bails. So these are usually placed on the two ends of the cricket pitch. So let's move back. So here you see between these two lines will be those stumps which will be put in front of those. So you will see some videos later on where it will be visible more clearly. But these are some general equipment. Then you have the uh, helmet. So helmet is number 6 is called a helmet. So that is basically equipment that is used to protect your head from uh, the cricket ball. Okay, so let's move on to team structure. So in cricket, you have two teams playing against each other, and each team has 11 players in them. Uh, they have one captain and one vice captain. The team is usually divided into players which have 3 specific roles. The first one would be batsmen or the batters, whose primary role is to score runs. Then you have bowlers, which are similar to pitchers in baseball. Their primary role is to take wickets or take the outs, as you say in baseball. There are two types of bowlers that you would usually see. There are fast bowlers and spin bowlers. So the fast bowlers usually throw the ball at around 120 to 150 kilometers per hour. And in spin bowling, they'll be a lot slower, around 80 to 100 kilometers per hour. So the spin bowlers, like I explained earlier, that in cricket you are allowed to bounce the ball. So this bouncing of the ball is really important as it allows you to give a spin on the ball. So it is difficult for the batters to judge where the ball would be going. The other important player is called a wicket keeper, which we'll show you image of later on. And then you have all-rounders, which have the ability to both bat and bowl at the same time. So these are very important roles of the all-rounders, as they give you an opportunity to have uh, players who can do both. Like, so you don't have to have a specific extra batter or a bowler. So you can have players who can do both these things equally good. Okay, so let's see what is an over. So an over is a really important term in cricket. So a lot of the formats that are played in cricket depend on overs. So uh, in baseball, the pitcher can throw as many, if I'm not wrong, there is no set limit on the number of pitches he can do at a given time. But in cricket, uh, a bowler can only throw 6 legal consecutive balls at a time, and then it shifts to the other side of the ground, and then some other bowler repeats the same thing, throws 6 consecutive balls. So this 6 consecutive legal deliveries or balls is called an over. And the number of overs that are played are dependent on which format you are playing. And like I said, so no bowler can bowl 2 consecutive overs. It has to be 2 different bowlers bowling at the same time. Sorry, 2 different bowlers bowling consecutive overs. And also the number of overs each bowler can do in a match is also set depending on the format you are playing. Okay, with that, I give the presentation to Avinash, and he'll explain you the formats and the further details.
Thank you, Rachel. So let's take a look at the formats. So there are primarily three formats that are played in an international match. So first is the test format, which is which I would say is the original or one of the first formats introduced in the game. In this format, the match is played over 5 days. So there is a 5-day limit. You play each day. In each day, there is a 90 over limit. So each day is played for 90 overs or a 7-hour limit, depending on the light, how the daylight is. And in test formats, the jerseys that the players wear is white because the ball that is being used to play is a red leather ball. So it is visible to the batsman quite easily. That's why. So a red ball is used, and the team players have white jersey. Usually, the match is during the day. Like it starts early in the morning, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., something like that. But recently, they have introduced a variation in the test format as well, in which the match is played. It starts in the afternoon and goes till the evening, so a kind of a day-night match. And pink ball is used in the night format. Then another format is the one-day internationals, which is, as the name suggests, it's a one-day game. And in this format, each team plays for 50 overs. So both the teams get 50 overs of batting and bowling. So it's also usually around 8 hours or something. And this one-day international match is played both day night and in the morning as well. And in the one-day internationals and the T20 format, in both those formats, a wide ball is used, and the teams wear colorful jerseys according to the nation's colors. A T20 is a shorter format of the one-day international, in which only just 20 overs are allotted to each team to play. This is a more, I would say, entertaining format because everything happens too fast. So and it's almost similar to one-day international. We can go to the next slide. So as I said, for each format, there is different jerseys. Each team usually has different jersey for each format. So in the test, you can see there's white jersey. The colors are white color is the common, and just some other background colors. Each country has their own. Then there's this one-day international jersey, which is ODI, and then the T20 jersey. So I am wearing right now a T20 jersey, and Swapnil is wearing a one-day international jersey. Similarly, this is India's jersey, but other countries also have their own. So you can see here, like there are different countries. So this is on the left, starting from the left, it's India, then Zimbabwe, then I guess Ireland, Namibia, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, West Indies, Afghanistan, then Bangladesh. Not sure which country is that. Might be Oman. Then Sri Lanka, England, Pakistan, the Netherlands, and not sure about that one, but yeah. So these are some of the cricket playing nations. Now, how the game is won, the result of the game is decided for one day international and T20 format, as it's only a limited overs game, as we say it. First, the first batting team sets a target. They will score as many runs as they can in the limited overs that is being allotted to them, or until out of the 11 players, 10 players are out. So if all the batsmen, if the 10 your 10 wickets are down, as they say in cricket, or 10 batsmen gets out, your innings is over. The batting team's innings is over, and the run scored are set as the target. So the second batting team has to score 1 run more than the team batting first has scored. So that's how you win the game. If they are unable to score at least the same runs, or this score less runs than the first batting team, they lose the game, regardless of in how many overs they made or if they lost all the wickets. So in below you can see a typical scorecard in a cricket match for a one-day or T20 game. So here it has been highlighted, like which is the batting team, how many runs they have scored up till now, and the wickets they have lost. So right now India is batting with 84 runs and 3 wickets. They have lost 3 wickets, and out of I think this is a T20 game, so out of the 20 overs, 11.5 overs has been bowled. And right now the situation is India needs 35 runs from 37 balls remaining. So unless India scores 35 runs in those 37 balls, means if they score, they win. If they lose, if they are not able to score the 35 runs in the 37 balls, they lose, even though they have not lost all of their wickets. So test match is different, quite different actually, from the T20 and the one-day international match. So in test match, as Swapnil explained previously, in a limited over game, there is only 2 innings for batting and bowling. But in a test format, there are 4 innings. So each team bats twice and bowls twice. So in a test match, in a limited overs format, usually there is a result, either you win or lose. There is rare occasions of having the match tied, which is the case when both the team scores equally. But in a test match, it's not quite that simple. So in a test match, first the team batting first sets the scores in as much runs they want, or when they lose all their wickets, then their innings is over. In a test match, a team can decide, or their captain will decide how many runs they want to score. If they feel they have scored enough runs, they can declare their innings. That is, even though they have not lost all their wickets, they can end their innings so that the second team can start to bat. So the second team tries to score at least as much run as the first team scored, and after that they can keep scoring, making more runs to create a lead. So lead is your the number of runs they have scored more than the first team. Now they will try to create a lead, and they will end their inning at a certain lead, however much they can get. Then the first team again comes out to bat, and they try to reach the lead score before getting all out, and try to score more than the lead. Now the run scored more than the lead score, that will be the target for the second team, and that would be the final inning of the game. So this all is done in 5 days of game, 5 days of play. So typical scorecard for a test match game is shown. So here England is playing. They have scored 125 runs and they have lost 9 wickets, but they are currently leading by 6 runs. So that is the other team, that is West Indies. they must have scored 119 runs in their first innings. So yeah, in gameplay, so this image here shows for different signals by the umpires. So there are two umpires present in the game, which determines the legality of the game and signals the scoring also. So the first, you can see when a batsman is given out, how the umpire signal is given. So they raise a hand with a finger. So that shows out. And when there is a boundary in the sense when the ball reaches the boundary of the stadium, 4 runs are allotted to the batting team. And if the ball reaches directly beyond the boundary, then 6 runs are awarded to the batting team. So the signal is shown. Now buys buys is a form of run, extra runs we say, because these are not scored by the batsman. So if a bowler bowls a ball and the batsman misses the ball, and even the fielding team misses the ball, and the two batsmen between the pitches, they run across the wicket, they can score those buys runs. Those are extras. Similarly, is a leg by, but in that case, as the name suggests, like the ball hits the legs or the pad of the batsman, and the batsmen are able to quickly take a run. Those are leg bys. Similarly, there are other different signals. There is wide ball, which is a very common form of extra runs, wide and no ball. So these wide and no ball are illegal deliveries. They do not constitute an over. So if a bowler bowls a wide or a no ball, they have to bowl again. We can show some of the running, and so first clip is when batsmen are taking single, double, or a triple run. So see, you can see here the batsmen are running across the wicket. So this would be 2 runs because the batsman was able to get back to his batting position. This is another scenario again. So if the batsman is unable to reach to the white line that is known as crease, and the wicket keeper is able to gather the balls and break the wickets, then the batsman is called a run out. Similarly, as I mentioned, 4 and 6. Here bats. This is a typical 4 in a, so the ball bounces at least one time inside the ground before reaching the boundary. So then 4 runs are awarded. As Swapnil mentioned, apart from baseball, here the bowlers usually pitch the ball on the pitch. They bounce the ball and then it reaches to the batsman. We can show 6 also, how 6 runs are awarded. So this time batsman is directly over the ropes or over the boundary. This in this particular scenario, it's gone out of the stadium, I guess. So that is 6 runs. But you don't need to always hit outside the stadium. Even just beyond the boundaries, also 6 runs are awarded. So into the stands, those are 6 runs. Similarly, extras. No ball is when a bowler bowls. So there are creases. So the white line is called the crease, and the bowler has to bowl, has to have a little portion of their feet behind the line. If that is not the case, then that is not a legal delivery, and it's called a no ball. So this is a fair delivery, and this is a no ball. Similarly, wide. We can move it. The umpire is signaling wide. That is, if the ball is too far away from the batsman, that the batsman can't reach, then that ball is called wide. You can see like it's way far off. The batsman can't reach there. So there are usually white lines indicating that inside those lines, bowler has to bowl. This form of extra runs, that is leg byes. So it hit the pad of the batsman and the batsman were able to cross. So they get one leg by runs. Similarly here. Now ways of getting out in cricket. So the most common ones are getting bowled out. That is, the batsman is unable to touch the ball and it directly hits their stumps. So this is called bowled. So batsman is unable to, even if it makes slight contact and it breaks the stump, it's called bowled. The other one is caught out. Again, a very common one. Batsman try to hit the ball and a fielder catches. You can see this is actually a pretty great catch. So without hitting the ground, if the ball directly goes into the hands of the fielder, it's considered out, caught out. Then there is run out. So batsmen are trying to run between the wickets, and as I mentioned, before reaching the crease, the ball hits the stump. It's called run out. It doesn't necessarily have to be a direct hit to the stumps. In this case, it is, but like other fielders can gather the ball and break the stumps. Then it's LBW. LBW is known as leg before wicket. So if the batsman bowls, if the bowler bowls a ball and it hits without hitting the bat of the batsman, it hits the pads, which the batsman wears on their legs. So if it hits the pads and the umpire judges the pads or the legs of the batsman to be in front of the wicket, it's called legs before wicket, and it's given out. And another common is a way of getting out is stumped. So this is when the batsman steps out of the crease to hit the ball but misses, and the wicket keeper behind the stumps gathers the ball and break the stumps before the batsman is able to get back inside the crease. It's called stumped out. Some of the rare form of getting out is, we will show this. The first one is hit wicket. This is when batsman by mistake hits the stumps. So in this case, the bails are broken. So you see, yeah, the batsman feet touched the stumps and it broke it. So this is called hit wicket. Sometimes batsmen lose their balance and they drop even their bat on the stumps and they are out. See again this case. Another one is called handling the ball. You can't touch the ball with your or stop the ball with hands. The batsman can't do that. So I think they can use their feet or bat, but they can't use their hands. So this is called handling the ball. So in that case, the umpire can or will declare them out. Another one is obstructing the field. So in this case, the batsman is out of their crease and the fielder tries to throw the ball at the stumps to get a run out, but the batsman obstructs the field in a way such that the ball doesn't hit the stump. So they are coming in the way of ball getting to the stumps. So, and that is when that is intentional, the umpires give that out. In this case, you can see the ball is there. Double hit, these are very rare. This is again kind of similar to obstructing the field. So the wicket keeper was coming to try to throw the ball to run out the other batsman. But yeah. Now some of the common fielding positions. So as we mentioned, like there are 11 players in a team. So when the batting team comes to bat, only two of their players come to bat at both end of the wickets or both end of the pitch. But the fielding team has all their 11 players on the field. So out of those 11 players, one is wicket keeper and one would be the bowler that would be bowling the ball. The rest 9 fielders are scattered over the field at different fielding positions. So some of the common fielding positions are mentioned over here. So these are slip. There are 2-3 slips that are next to the wicket keepers, and then 3 or 4 slips, and then there is a gully that is called. Similarly, there are long on, long off. These are so some fielding positions are very inside, or you can assume an inner circle that is a 30-yard circle, and then there is a outer. Fielders are placed in outer near the boundary position to stop the boundaries and sixes and get catches. So yeah, these are some the very common fielding positions. Now there are many international teams, but there are very few test playing nations. So the test playing nations, the test playing nations are unique, and they are they play in a different, I would say, they are able to participate in different test championship leagues. So not all countries that play cricket or they get the opportunity to play test match format. So the test playing nations are India, England, Australia. There is a very famous series between England and Australia, which is called the Ashes. That is this trophy that they get. So they have a huge history, the England and Australian team. Similarly, South Africa, New Zealand, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, West Indies, Afghanistan, Ireland, and Zimbabwe. These all are test playing nations. They can play test match. The rest on the right, you can see this is the list of teams that took or participated in the T20 World Cup in the 2024, a couple of months back. which was played in the USA as well. So many smaller nations are able to play the limited overs format, but not every of them get an opportunity to play a test match. Now, cricket in USA. So cricket in USA has been growing over the past, I would say, 5 years. So there are more than 400 local leagues and more than 200,000 people have played in this year alone. So there are two leagues in USA. Both are in short form called MLC, Major League Cricket and Minor League Cricket. And Major League Cricket began last year in the summer, where it was a T20 format game and 6 teams participated. And the venues were in Texas, the Grand Prairie Stadium, and in North Carolina. And the minor league has been since 2021. And again, it is a T20 format, and there are around 26 teams, and they have different conferences at the Atlantic and Pacific Conference, as many of the states are involved in that. So T20 format is usually played in most of the leagues because it's it's compact, it's entertaining. So yeah. Women in cricket, it's been growing a lot in the past decade itself. It has become very popular. Many countries have now their domestic league for women's cricket as well. In India, the Indian women's cricket team has grown to such a popularity, and they are doing so well. Like now, they are getting the same match fee as the men's cricket team. You can see even in women's cricket, there are a lot of other smaller nations taking part. So lastly, we would like to end with cricket in Norman. So we have been playing for more than 2 years now. And in the past year itself, we started organizing tournaments to play amongst ourselves. So we have had 2 tournaments, and a third tournament is on the way for this. It will be played in during this semester. And apart from that, we do regularly play every weekend in the intramural fields. So if anyone is interested, they can join. They can scan the QR code over here for Norman Cricket. And yeah, you can join. And the tournament we have named is Norman Cricket Championship. So it will begin in September 14, the third edition. So if anyone wants to join, they can scan the QR code or contact us. With that, we will end the presentation. Thank you. And if anyone has any questions.
Okay. Any questions from anyone in the audience?
I'd like to invite Swapnil and Avinash to see how to share their ideas in terms of how cricket connects with baseball. We have a couple of Americans here, and I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So as we had shown some things in the presentation, so I think one common thing between baseball and cricket is you have a ball and you have a bat. The difference being the bat in baseball is a circular, has a circular shape, a cylindrical shape sort of, which tapers off at the end. But a cricket bat is generally flat on one side. And the balls are also completely different. So I'm not exactly sure what the baseball balls are made of, but the cricket balls are made of leather and cork. And I believe they are a lot more tougher than the baseballs, maybe. Yeah, if someone would like to tell us about the baseball uh, bat and ball, that would be good.
I'm actually not sure what a baseball is made of these days. I know traditionally, like the outside, I think was leather. I don't think it is anymore. And I'm not sure what the inside is, but it is generally a little bit softer, I think.
Okay.
And the stitching's a little bit different too, because the cricket ball has that like, ridge that going around it.
Yes. So the stitches on the cricket ball, we call that a seam, and so that actually plays a lot of role in playing the game. So as we said, like the fast bowlers, which I talked about, which come running in and throw the ball at high speed. So the position of those seam can affect how the ball is swinging in the air. So you can have different delivery. So how baseball has different pitches. So even in cricket, you have balls which can in swing. So basically, the ball will swing inwards towards the batsman. It can be an out swinging delivery where the ball is swinging away from the batsman, and can also like spin the ball in different ways. So the seam is definitely an important aspect of the game as per the bowlers are concerned. Does the seam in the or the stitching in the baseball affect the game?
It's got some stitching that holds the like the leather case on, but it's not as prominent as the seam on the cricket. I don't play a lot of baseball, so
Okay.
I think one of the differences is that when you bowl in cricket, the ball hits the ground and then goes to the batsman. Whereas in baseball, it's like a bouncer. So that's the difference. I mean, in cricket, there's also a bouncer, but
Mhm.
that's few and far between. It's supposed to hit the ground and then there's some magic in it and how it turns and what happens and things along those lines. The
Right.
other difference between baseball and cricket is that, let's say in a T20, you will have about 50 runs, correct? In a T20 game, you'll have about the maximum would be around 50 runs.
Oh no, the runs would like nowadays you get up to 250, 200.
Okay.
200 is nothing nowadays.
Okay, so 200 runs, whereas in baseball, the number of runs, the maximum will be 10 or 15 or something like that in the entire game.
Oh yes. So in cricket, the runs is the primary or the major outcome than the wickets. The wickets are less, and each team only has 10 outs that they can have in an innings. And there is only one chance. There is no repeat of innings in the shorter formats of the game. So yeah, so the runs would always be a higher number than the outs or the wickets.
And in baseball, if I remember right, there are only 3 outs that you're allowed.
Yes, in an innings, I think.
So anyway, so those are some of the differences.
This is potentially a silly question. Do people watch the whole 8-hour game every day?
Uh, Not necessarily. Some people who enjoy watching it. I mean, if it's a World Cup game or something, we do get together in one of our friends' house and then we would watch the entire game. In general, if it's just a regular, so there are some bilateral series that happen throughout the year other than the World Cup matches. And in those cases, we don't sit around the TV for the whole 8 hours. But if it's the shorter game, the 3 or 4 hour long game, that one we might.
The big money maker.
Yeah.
So if they hold the 5-day, 8-hour games and they're at the stadium, do you buy a ticket for all 5 days?
Many people do. Some people buy it just for the day.
Yeah, you have an option to do both, like either get a single day ticket or have the whole 5-day ticket. Oh, and I think we missed one interesting fact. So the 5-day game, which is played over like 8 hours every day, that has a lunch and a tea break. So you get so you play for around 2 hours in the morning, then you have a lunch break for 40 minutes, then you go back to play for 2 hours, and then you come back, come inside, have tea for 20 minutes, and then go out. So it's literally called a lunch break and a tea break.
That's the most British thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. I mean, but you do need breaks, right? If you're going to play 7, 8 hours a day.
No, it makes sense. It just feels very British to make one of the breaks a tea break.
And
Yeah.
in the old days, when I was growing up, during the tea break, we used to get cucumber sandwiches
Oh,
with
you've made
no
it more
crust.
British. You
With no crust. The crust was taken
No,
out.
you don't understand. Taking off the crust just kind of exponentially made it more British.
That's right. And cucumber sandwiches
Mm.
with lemonade.
Oh, frick.
Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, so until recent years, like we only had the two formats, the one day and the test formats, but because the viewership, like people were not coming into the stadiums to watch the game, so that's when uh, the British actually came up with this shorter format called the T20 format, and that actually worked. But then it was the other countries like India, Australia, where they started making these T20 formats into local leagues, as they say. So not international games, but local games where even players from other countries can participate in them. So they started making these leagues, and that turned out to be very profitable for the cricketing business. So that was, I would say, the shorter formats was more of a business idea, and to get the younger generation uh, more attracted towards the game.
Yeah, I was thinking because like the baseball games, I know they've been having issues with people not coming in as much, and they tend to be long, but I think long games in baseball are like 3 or 4 hours. So
Yeah. Anyone has any other questions?
So, you guys play indoor cricket or outdoor cricket at OU, like Avinash mentioned?
So we play outdoor cricket at you can if you know the location of the intramural fields that are here in the, I would say, near the Stinson Street. That's a pretty big ground. So you can we play usually there.
Okay.
so Ahmed is from Pakistan. Maybe he's a cricketer.
I have played cricket my whole life.
Okay, so then you can
You
join
can,
these folks.
All right,
yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, we have currently like players or like students from India, Bangladesh, Nepal. I don't think we have had anyone from Pakistan yet joining. We are actually looking for some PR players from Pakistan so that we can start our own Asia Cup right in Norman.
Yeah, that sounds good. Are you guys looking for a batsman or a bowler or an all-rounder?
Anything works.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we just play. It's a very informal competition kind of a thing, like mix and match. Like so, we have uh, I don't know if like so there is we have a event called the auction where the team captains are decided first, and then they get a chance to pick and choose the players they want in their team. So we have some forms that will be rolled out, and then based on that, we have a list of people who want to play, what they can do, whether they can bat or bowl, and from that, the captains can choose which team, which players they want for their team. So that's how the tournament is played on, and in general, when we play on weekends, it's just show up to the ground, and then we make teams and play.
Great.
So does Roshan want to summarize, give the closing comments?
Roshan is, I think, busy with some TA thing.
Yeah, okay. So let's wrap it up, Rich.
I can.
Okay.
I messed
Okay.
up my Zoom settings for some reason.
Go ahead, Roshan.
I mean, I was able to hear it, so that was nice. Um, some basic things with baseball, I guess, is the best part is you can hit anywhere in the ground. There's no foul balls, so that's interesting. I think one comparison I would make the spinners would be how you have players who bowl like splitters or curveballs where there is more rotation, and I think fast bowlers is there are people who just bowl fastballs. Run out is very similar to tagging out on the first and the second bases. Like you have to touch the base before the player can tag you out. So similar to that is run out. So it's very interesting that how some of these elements are there, but it's completely different in terms of tactics or how it is played. But yeah, would be nice if we can watch like a cricket game everyone together. There's a tournament that's coming up, Champions Trophy, and I think that would be a good chance to just we all sit together and watch the game. That would be fun. But yeah, it's exciting.
When is the tournament? Roshan?
I think it's in October.
Okay.
October, November, I think. I don't remember exactly the dates, but it's coming up soon.
Cool.
It's called ICC Champions Trophy. I'm not really sure of the dates. Avinash and Swapnil could tell exactly.
Right.
Uh,
Stop the recording, and then we can go into the chit chat mode.